Welcome everyone to Heroes and Villains HQ. Today we're doing another LEGO buyer's guide, this time for the August 2025 Marvel sets. So we're going to take a look at all of the sets releasing this August. We're going to go through the details, all of the specifications, and then give you my thoughts on whether or not it's providing enough value for you to purchase it on day one or wait for a sale. But before we take a look at these sets, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below so you can stay tuned for more Star Wars and Marvel content on my channel. And while you're down there, definitely hit the like button. But let's go ahead and jump in to the LEGO Marvel August 2025 Buyer's Guide. So similar to my LEGO Star Wars Buyer's Guide, which if you haven't checked out, definitely hit the link up above to go take a look at that set. We're going to go through each set, starting with the cheapest one all the way up to the most expensive one, and then wrap it up in a final thoughts on what sets I think you should buy and what sets you should wait on. So let's go ahead and start with the cheapest set, coming in at $22.99, the Iron Man and War Machine versus Hammer Drones set. Now this is kind of Battle Pack-esque to the Star Wars sets, including Iron Man, War Machine, and then 2 buildable Hammer Drones. When this one was first rumored, I thought it was going to include the Hammer Drones as minifigures and then have kind of a landscaping build as we see during that scene in Iron Man 2. Unfortunately, we get these 2 buildable drones that I don't think look very good. I can see where they were going with it. I just don't think it was executed well. As for the minifigures, the Iron Man and War Machine are solid. If you don't have them, this is a cheap way to pick them up. But overall, only including 204 pieces, $23, 2 minifigures. I don't know, the value may be there for some people. For me personally, I don't see it. I definitely feel like it's $20 or less. I know it's only a couple bucks, but this is definitely one that isn't providing anything in terms of like major exclusivity. It's not providing anything that's like you gotta get on day one. So I think with that said, if you wait a month or two, you're gonna be able to get those few dollars off and make it worth the price. But on day one, $22.99, I'd wait. Personally, I'd wait. I don't think you can go wrong though buying it on day one. So it's kind of just your personal preference. If these are figures you're still looking for, getting it on day one wouldn't be terrible. The next set releasing is a 4+ set. This is Captain America versus Thanos, including 2 minifigures, 107 pieces, coming in at a whopping $39.99. Now, a lot of these 4+ sets tend to be wildly overpriced. I'm not sure why, but they are, so it's unfortunate. The 2 figures are exclusive and have new prints, which is pretty cool. They're not any sort of prints that are super accurate to any comic or Marvel movie. They're kind of like a mashup, creative interpretation of the characters. So I think for a 4+ set, it's cool, but it's just definitely not worth $40 at all. The 2 builds they're fun. I do like how Thanos is like a gauntlet ship. That's pretty cool. But again, looking at these 2 ships, like you're looking at that ship and saying it's worth $20, right? They're just not. So, if this is a 4+ set that you want to pick up maybe for your 4-year-old, eventually I could see it being a cool set, just not at $40. So now the next set of price points, we have about 3 sets coming in at the $55 mark. Taking a look at each one, the first one is Peter Parker's apartment with 394 pieces, including 4 minifigures. And the highlights here are Anti-Venom and Hobgoblin. Super, super cool minifigures. And I do like that they are coming back to doing some comic-based sets. This one mashes up really well with the Oscorp set that we'll take a look at towards the end of this video. But this is a cool set, including an MJ and Spiderman as well. A couple of really cool exclusive figures and an overall great landscape build, right? We don't get a lot of those in some of these lines, Marvel and Star Wars. It's usually Starship based. We don't really usually get a lot of buildings, obviously, other than the expensive ones like the Bugle and the Tower and the X-Men Mansion and the Sanctum. But other than that, and the cheaper sets, we don't get a lot of these. So this is pretty cool. I think for $55, I could make an argument that this is worth that. The minifigures are cool. The build is pretty solid. Overall, I would pay $55 for this. The next set I know a ton of people are excited for, and that is the Spider-Man versus Doc Ock subway train. We're throwing it all the way back to Spider-Man 2. This was a set that was released back when the movie did. They've now, done their fresh look at this train scene, including Spider-Man, Doc Ock, J. Jonah Jameson, and then Aunt May, including 393 pieces, again, $55. This set is awesome. The figures are great. The prints are great. The Spider-Man has, these slashes through him. The Doc Ock has a really great, octopus arm build. Getting Aunt May is really cool. The only thing I wish the set included was a couple of train tracks, right? That could have been a cool inclusion there. But other than that, I have no complaints with this set. $55, take my money. This is, a definite day one buy. The last $55 set releasing this August is the Avengers Endgame Thor versus Chitauri. Now this is kind of what's supposed to be an expansion set to the June Avengers Endgame set that was $100, and that set stunk. This set, on the other hand, is great. It includes 4 Chitauri minifigures, Thor, Rocket, and then Iron Patriot Mark II. The builds are a couple of ships, and then a Chitauri gorilla, and then the War Machine mech. Overall, it's got 373 pieces. Again, 7 minifigures at $55. This set is 100% worth the money. Not one I'm gonna personally be picking up just because I got only so much space, so I have to be choosy. But this set for a lot of folks, brand new Rocket, a brand new Iron Patriot Mark II. You get a couple of Chitauri minifigures to build that army, and then a really awesome Thor figure. This set is awesome, definitely. All around, this is a really cool set. Now jumping to $60, we have the second mini bust of the Marvel line. This one is the Iron Spider-Man bust. This will pair well with the Iron Man bust that was released in June. This set does include one minifigure, the brand new Iron Spider-Man figure. And I think overall the bust looks really good. This is far better than the Iron Man bust. I think the head build, as well as getting a couple of those Iron Spider arms, overall really, really good. I just don't think this line is worth $60. This set has 379 pieces. Again, I don't see the $60 value. I see $50 in value, similar to like the helmet lines and some of the other 18 plus lines that are cheaper. But $60 is just slightly too much. And this is a theme for the August wave sets, not only in Marvel, but Star Wars and other waves too. Everything just seems to be just slightly overpriced, which is unfortunate. So this set, this one's a pass in my opinion. Now jumping from $60 all the way up to $130, we have the Avengers Age of Ultron Quinjet. This is this year's major ship from the MCU. We've gotten now a couple of these each year. We've gotten the Quinjet, and we've gotten the 2 different Guardians of the Galaxy ships, the Benatar and the Milano. And this year we're getting another Quinjet, a different variation of it that we see in Avengers Age of Ultron. It includes 1,131 pieces and then 5 minifigures, including a brand new and exclusive Ultron and Quicksilver figure. Really, really cool. Also, again, the display stand, a really awesome inclusion. I think this is one that's underrated. And what's new with this display stand is they've added an ability to display all of the minifigures at the bottom of them in action pose, which I think is really, really cool. Definitely something I would like to see in future versions of these ships. As for the set itself, gorgeous model. They nailed the look of it. And I think one of the coolest features is the way the wings fold up. They killed it, truly. This is a set that's worth $130. No doubt in my mind. This is a pickup August 1st. And most expensive set releasing this August at $140, including 808 pieces, 8 minifigures, is the Spider-Man versus Oscorp set. Now this is an Oscorp tower, including 8 awesome minifigures. Some highlights are the Green Goblin, the Eddie with the Venom feature over his shoulder. You get a new Kraven, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, some really, really great figures, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Woman. Really, really excited about this lineup. I think the set itself, I'm not sure, 808 pieces, $140, that doesn't seem to really match up, but it definitely has size. So I think that's something that needs to be paired with. Not everything needs to be 10 cents per piece, at least in my opinion. I think the size of this is providing that value that, it doesn't have as many pieces, but it does, it's tall. So I think, again, pairing this with a Peter Parker's apartment as well, that's really great. And a really cool feature is all of these buildings do come apart, and you can change the way your street looks. So as you add, the Spider-Man apartment or other buildings to this set, like the Daily Bugle, you'll be able to change how you want them set up and, and slot one here or move it there. I think that's a really cool feature. As for the set itself, Oscorp looks great. The side buildings look pretty good. Overall, no complaints. It's not one I'm picking up, but $140, I feel like you could wait for a sale, but for some people who are really excited about this, I could see you spending $140. So what are my final value opinions of this wave? Definitely better than the Lego Star Wars wave. I think this wave of sets definitely provides a little more value. I think the highlights of this wave are definitely the Age of Ultron Quinjet for $130, the 5 figures, the 1,100 pieces. This one's knocking it out of the park. I think the Spider-Man 2 train set is also another great set. The 4 figures are fantastic. The build encapsulates the scene perfectly. I think another sleeper set here is the Avengers Endgame set. 7 figures for $55, as well as a brand new Rocket and Iron Patriot Mark II. That one's no doubt worth $55. Also, I think the two sets, the Peter Parker's apartment and the Oscorp set, totaling $140 and $55 for those two sets. I think for some fans, these are sets that you could wait a little bit on and get a sale. I think for other fans, if you spend that full MSRP on them, you're not getting scammed. They're worth that. I could see you spending that. But also, I think for a lot of people, wait a month or two. You'll be able to get them a little bit cheaper on Black Friday. I think the other sets that fall into that category as well is going to be the Iron Man and Hammer Drone set. Granted, it's only $23. The sale that you're going to be waiting on is like $3, $4. But it adds up, right? A couple of dollars here, a couple of dollars there. That's the difference between getting one set or two, right? So I think that set is worth waiting on, waiting for a couple dollars sale to pick up. The two sets that I think are a pure pass in this wave are going to be the Iron Spider-Man Bust at $60 and the Captain America vs. Thanos 4+ set at $40. These sets aren't worth that. If they're ones you want in your collection, definitely wait for a sale, but I think these are passes altogether. So that wraps up my final opinions of the LEGO Marvel August 2025 wave. I hope you enjoyed this buyer's guide. I do like doing this series and giving you a full breakdown of all the sets and my thoughts and opinions. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Again, if you haven't checked it out, check out my LEGO Star Wars August 2025 buyer's guide. I'll link it above. But with that said, thank you so much for watching. If you're enjoying my content, hit the subscribe button down below to show your support. And I'll catch you all in the next one.